I love the fact that you haven't focused on the foundational piece. I call it the atomic unit. How does one, as a recovering cerebralist and talking to the current Adam, how would you recommend someone who's super heady, who can say brilliant things, but they don't embody it, they don't live it, they don't have the heart and soul behind it?
Yeah.
What are some of the atomic unit skills that you
Yeah.
can advise them to get more into the soul and the heart and be integrated human beings?
So one of the first things that brilliant people do, I call this the quality of brilliance, is we filter everything through, do I agree with this or do I disagree with this? And we're pretty good at that because we've amassed a wide body of knowledge. So we're good at checking with it. And the trouble is that what can get in then is only the stuff we agree with. And if we disagree with it, it's discarded, it's set aside. And what that ensures is that all we ever get is something that's already consistent with what we already know. I'm going to provide a few practices, but the first thing I want to do is set out this context and invitation to brilliant people to, instead of asking, do I agree with this, ask themselves the question, where and how is this true? So the temptation is that true? Which is another version of, do I agree with that? And instead, the opportunity is to ask, where and how is it true? I'm going to assume it's true. Now, where do I find it? And then the place that we can begin to look is like, what's missing in my life? What is not what I want it to be? Where am I dissatisfied? And because brilliant people tend to create a life that's 8 out of 10s across the board. So our life is pretty good, and most people would give their right arm for it. But we know we're like, I'm not hitting the 10s. And so part of what allows us to begin opening up is to ask, where am I settling for 8 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10? And that's going to start to give you a path like, okay, what would I start to create if I wanted to make a 10 out of 10? And then that's going to, of course, drive up all our resistance and blah, blah, blah. But this allows for the beginning of the journey, I think.
So actually, I have a follow-up question here, and this is an inquiry. So some may say the progress or the innovators of our time come from a place of discontent, and at the same time, discontent also is a source of suffering.
Yes.
It seems a little paradoxical, right? How do I be content and at the same time pushing the progress of humanity forward? So if you can say a little bit more about that, because it's a natural segue to what you just said.
Yeah, that is most of the breakthroughs I find are in the paradoxes where we're like, why can't I just be content with my life? But at the same time, discontent is the compass for me that leads me towards what's next. And I guess I choose one or the other. And I don't have a really clean answer, but the truth is often in walking the tightrope between those two. Like, this was the best art I was able to create, and I can do better. So how can I be totally delighted with the art I've created in the moment and at the same time stand for something that I can create beyond this? How can I continue to strive to do better in my life and be completely content with where I'm at right now? And I don't have, this is a great example of where words will fail us, because that's probably what you do with your clients, is certainly what I do with my clients, is I help them live into that rather than give them a prescription to like then go and do. And haha, now I've got the rule to do this. Now I've solved, crap, we're back inside the same water.